so we don't end up with that awkward start. There we go. Over to you.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me this morning. I know there are a couple of choices, so I appreciate it. It is morning here. The sun hasn't actually come out yet, so we'll see how it goes today. I'm going to be talking to you about the power of a GIF. I teach maths. I will show you how to do these at the end. These are the funny ones at the end, but I'm going to be showing you how I use GIFs for modelling and why I came to this decision in my teaching. I teach high school maths, mainly to adults that haven't passed and need to get that high school maths in order to progress. I think my oldest student at the moment is 62, so I cover all ages. A GIF then is an image, a series of moving images. It's not a video, but it plays like a video. And that's kind of what I was trying to go for when I came down this route. There's lots of links coming up as we go through. They're all under short links of cut.ly. So this one is cut.ly and then /PG, sessions called Power of a GIF, and then whatever it is. So just grab those links as it goes through. So I want to talk about the digital divide. So this is UK statistics. So this is 2021 January, so as recent as that. Just 10% of teachers found that their students had adequate access to a device. So they're accessing mainly on mobile phones, on cell phones. And then also this bottom statistic here, that 11% of teachers thought that 1 in 5 of their pupils don't have adequate internet access. Now, that could be for money reasons, it could be for rural reasons, it could be for demand in the house of the number of people that are in the house on the internet at one time. But we've got a real problem in that students can't access their learning outside the classroom. Now, appreciate at this time, we were doing a lot more online teaching. Some of that still remains, but we always teach outside the classroom. We always extend students' learning outside the classroom. So I was hitting a real problem. My students were turning around saying to me, I can't do my work until I get more credit on my cell phone, until I get more top up on my phone. They were literally turning around and saying, you will have to wait for me to study. This was stopping them from learning. So the sector that I teach in is post-16 education, and these are the statistics from that sector. And these were the problems when people were doing learning online during the lockdowns. 15% of students found a problem with mobile data costs, cell phone data costs. I don't know who those 15% are. So I had to make a change to my practice to be inclusive to those 15%. I had to make sure what I was doing didn't negatively impact those 15% as I was teaching online. And I still teach online now, but also we always teach online outside the classroom as well. And it's not just a UK problem as well. These are the statistics from the 2018 census in America. Maths, I always go for the average, the mean, the middle. And that middle one there, 25%. In that $20,000 to $35,000 bracket, a quarter of the people in that bracket have no home broadband in 2018. And you might think, oh, 2018, that was a long time ago. This week, that Matt tweeted out, students are still using cell phones. So they're still using cell phone data. So we need to change our practice. So what was I trying to do as a teacher? Well, we've got these 7 pillars of education. This is some research, and I do encourage you to grab and read the link on this research. This is the Education Endowment Foundation. These guys do mega studies, meta-analysis of lots of different studies, and then pick the best bits for teachers. So they're a really great source of information. I'm just going to bring up pillar 3 because it's a bit small there for you. But what they found when they were doing the research is that modelling by the teacher is the cornerstone of effective teaching. We know this, but it's nice to see it written down. And what I was trying to give my students was that worked example. Me as the expert, that model worked example. How would I tackle that problem as the expert? And then they can learn from that. And it went on here saying that scaffolded tasks, worked examples, allow pupils to develop their metacognitive and cognitive skills without placing too many demands on their mental resources. I don't know about you, but I've got Zoom fatigue, I've got Google Meet fatigue, I've even got Microsoft Teams fatigue, I've got WhatsApp video call fatigue, I've got FaceTime fatigue, I've got all the fatigues. So if anything we can do to lessen that demand on the mental resources as a teacher means that our students will find it easier to learn. So I was trying to do these worked examples and I default went to a video. Here you are, guys, here's me working out the answer, and then you do this, and then you do that, and then you do the other. But they couldn't access it. Sammy, I cannot access that work until I get some more cell phone data. Sammy, I cannot access that work until I am on site and have access to Wi-Fi. Videos are huge files. And we don't think about this when we're creating these expert examples for students. So some more research here for you. Cognitive science-based pedagogical approaches such as worked examples help teachers improve conceptual understanding while still furthering their procedural skills. So I know what I'm trying to do, but video's not working for me. So I'm starting to think, what can I do instead of a video? And this is ultimately how I ended up with making the GIFs. Like I said at the top, I teach maths. There's actually been a study in 2017 specifically about the use of GIFs in maths, and you can get that under the PGY short link on cut.ly. Maths can be made more visual through GIF animations. Tick, yes, we'll have some of that, please. But that they need to be slow and clear enough. So the way that I make GIFs, and you will hopefully, if we get time, make a GIF today, allows you to adjust the speed, allows you to make it clear. So all this led me down the route of, I'm going to start making some maths GIFs. And I wanted to check about this data streaming and what the impact is on my students. And you're free to grab that link and have a play yourself as well. But this is the screenshot of when I did it. And I put in for my students, imagine they watch 20 minutes of videos a day for teaching, for learning, 20 minutes. That, you know, I'm being really conservative here. Imagine they were on a Google Meet for an hour. And imagine they were on Google Classroom for 2 hours. That's what I put for the browsing. So 2 hours Google Classroom, an hour's Google Meet, and 20 minutes of videos. I thought that's probably the absolute minimum we've been expecting of students doing online teaching. And that came out at 21 gigabytes of monthly mobile data, monthly cell phone data. If the students don't have broadband and they're paying for data, here in the UK, it's really expensive. So they can't access this material. And that's before we get to listening to music and socialising, the bits that we actually want them to do. And I would encourage you just to grab that link or scan the QR code and have a play and think about your own practice. How much time do you expect your students and what activities do you expect them to do online? What is the data impact on that? And how can you as a teacher lessen that impact for them? And if you don't come with me on the GIF journey of lessening that impact, there is a whole section in the Google support pages about how to reduce the impact on data for those that lack stable broadband access. And there are some adjustments to your practice that you can make as well from that. Because 1 hour of video streamed on YouTube, look at the differences with the quality of what you put up. If you're going to stream a video on YouTube, make a video for your students that you're going to get them to watch. If you record it in HD, it's 720 megabytes. If you drop it down to 240, it goes to 96. Oh, well, brilliant. We'll just record everything in 240. But then we've got issues around quality. We've got issues around sound quality. It'll look a bit jittery. So this all led me to starting to make these GIFs. So here is a GIF. You can see the speed is slow, picking up on that research. You can see it's clear and easy to follow and understand because I colour code each section as it comes in. I'll head off right now at the pass. GIFs are not accessible to people who have a visual impairment who use screen readers. This is not accessible to someone who uses a screen reader. However, the way that I make it in Google Slides is, so if you have students who use screen readers or have visual impairments, I would share how you make the GIF rather than the GIF with them. The impact for my students was that they turned around and they said, it just goes on a loop. Like you can just like look at it, cover your eyes, do a bit of work and then watch it and be like, oh yeah, I got it right. The joy in them getting things right and then being able to see how they did it, how I did it. They could follow these, they use less data, And also, they just really liked that it was so easy to absorb. Definitely my students anecdotally told me that this lightened their load when they were learning. This was easier for them to understand than a series of slides, than a series of videos. This worked for them. So it might work for your students too. And it does just loop. You can't pause it, but what they quite liked was that concrete, knowledge that is going to come back around again. Oh yeah, I remember that bit now. And it just helps it go in. One student said to me, Sammy, it just washes over me. Just washes over. I just wash in maths. I'm like, yeah, we'll have that. We'll have that. So this is that GIF, and it is just Google Slides. You can see this time I can go forwards and backwards in the slide deck, and it's just a Google slide. Duplicate it, add the next bit. Duplicate it, add the next bit. Duplicate it, add the next bit. It's as simple as that. What I found was that it made me more concise as a teacher. I mean, as you can see, I've done 12 minutes and I've barely taken a breath. Imagining these videos for my students, quite intense. By putting it into a GIF, I was being more concise. So this one is one by someone who's done this session before. I did this session for the National English as an Additional Language Conference, and one of the participants made this GIF. And what the teachers of students who have English as an additional language were saying was that it's just really visual. You can put the text and the images at the same time, and it makes it easier for students to understand, which is something we're all striving to do as well. So credit to Esol Eve on Twitter who made this one. Here's another one, and this one then I'm taking it away from text and I'm going to add in images. So this is a pie chart. It wasn't the easiest thing to make, but it was possible. It wasn't particularly challenging either, to be honest. It was just time consuming. And you can see each of the sectors of the pie chart are coming in bit by bit. And all that is just screenshots and then erasing other bits of it and just screenshotting bits and removing background of the other parts. If I was going to make a video of how to draw a pie chart, it certainly would take a lot longer than watching this GIF to learn how to make a pie chart. But my students really liked it. And because they're in as GIFs, the students can right-click Save As, and it picks it up as an image. So my students now have a library of these as well that they can revise from and go back to all the time. So the comparisons then are the GIFs that I've shown you. The ratio one that we started with is 171 kilobytes of data, and the pie chart one is 224 kilobytes of data. But as you saw, it's got those images in, so I think that makes sense. But then if you look at a video of me explaining the difference between an analog and a digital clock that's 95 seconds long is 4.6 megabytes. And a video of me talking about angles in an isosceles triangle that's 35 seconds is 10.4 megabytes of data. So it works. It makes that data smaller for students. There's the direct comparison for you. So the 95-second video is 4.8 in that example, and then the GIF one is 171,000. You can see the significant reduction in the file size. So there are lots of ways to make a GIF. There's no right way in my eyes. You can make a GIF however you want to make a GIF. If you are a maths teacher, Autograph Web, which is very similar to a Desmos calculator, allows you to export as a GIF directly from there. So that's very good if you do teach maths, but you do need to adjust the speed and it needs to run through a speed adjuster afterwards. EasyGIF is probably the go-to place online to change GIFs. Free GIF Maker is quite good as well. Screencastify, you could screen record your desktop, clicking through the slides if you wanted, and then finish that recording, export as a GIF. That file size does tend to be quite large though, I will just say. The way I choose to make it is in tall tweets. That's my go-to way because I have those adjustments. And PowerPoint, if anyone's using Microsoft, you can export directly from a PowerPoint as a GIF, just depends on the version that you've got. So if you want to have a go at making a GIF, you can grab that link or you can scan that QR code. I've made a little template for you. It's going to be a little bit tricky because I've made the template and you're going to have to go into each slide, whereas normally you would make one slide and duplicate it. But if you go to cut.ly/PG template GS for Google Slides, all in capitals, or scan that QR code, and it'll open up that presentation for you. Once you've added your information, you can go to talltweets.com, upload your presentation, and then you can play about with the speed, you can play about with the size. I find about 600 to 800 to be perfect in tall tweets. I like each slide to go for at least 1.5 seconds, but it does go down to that degree. So I've got some that I go 1.3 seconds and some that go 2.7 seconds. So you can be really fine out about the time of how you want it to play through. Whilst you're in tall tweets, it will ask you, it will show you a preview. So if it is too fast, you can just go back and adjust it as well. And sometimes if you really want to emphasize a point in Google Slides, perhaps the final answer, and you want to emphasize the point, in Google Slides, if you just add that slide in a few times, then that will stay in the GIF for longer. So sometimes, you know, if you wanted to emphasize the final answer or the end point, if you just duplicate that slide into your slide deck a few times, that will remain in the GIF a bit longer and give it a bit more focus and attention. Really conscious of time, so I'm hoping you grabbed those links, and I'm going to whiz through the last bits for you. So why would you use a GIF? Well, you can't put a video in Google Forms unless it's a YouTube video, but you can put a GIF because you can put it in as an image. So here you are, you have the question, you have the GIF, and you put your answer in. So the students have a model worked example to go off when they're answering the question, right in the middle of the information as well. You can't put a video in Jamboard, but you can put a GIF in. So here you are, here's that GIF that I showed you before on the ratio one, and it's locked in as the background. So I've set the background as the GIF. So I've gone set background, and I've uploaded the GIF as a background. Students can then begin their work on the second frame. They can do their work and they go, right, I need to go back to that first frame just to check how I do this next bit. Go back, and I can cover off those key points as well. So it's really useful for putting moving images where you can't put video. This is a maths one made in Autograph. So if you are a maths teacher like me, these are the sorts of things you can pull out from Autograph, and you can see that we've got, you know, shapes and perpendicular bisectors going on here. So it graphs just like Desmos. So you've got all those features in there if you're familiar with that. There's another one. So this is a reflection in a diagonal line. If you don't teach maths, it probably won't mean anything, but it's a really tricky concept to convey to students. So it's lovely that we can do this in a GIF as well, and you can see the image as it reflects over. Those are the details for Autograph, and then how you get into that EZ GIF just to adjust the speed, because if you do pull them out of Autograph, they are a bit fast. And then the very last one is, and then I was like, so that beginning one where I was waving, if you wanted to make some of those to motivate and inspire your students, you can grab that link under PG Funny. And I'll stop talking. Thank you for joining me.